So it was around that time then that you also became or incepted LoveBrum. Just talk us through how that came about.
Well, LoveBrum originally, so it came from a bike ride we was doing for Help Harry Help Others. We were doing 7 countries, 7 days. It was an initiative that I'd come up with. At the time, I don't know if you remember back, there was cycle lanes, or there was promise of cycle lanes coming to the city. And they needed at the time £27 million. They'd been given a grant from central government to build these cycle lanes, to get the city cycling, because it's, I think on the charts of how many miles are cycled in the city of Birmingham, we're pretty much at the bottom of the list. And so I wanted to do an initiative bringing the bike back to Birmingham. You know, we've always been probably because of all the car industries that are around in the city, we've always been known as being a car city.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see a development of cycling. At the time I was doing quite a lot of cycling. So this initiative it wasn't just a big bike ride across 7 countries, 7 days, but there was a corporate challenge as well amongst the people, and go to festivals and get people to donate a mile. And we were raising money as each mile was cycled. And we raised, in the end, about £130,000, I think it was. But the main bike ride, 7 countries and 7 days from Switzerland back to Birmingham, back to Broad Street. We had Broad Street closed off. It was an amazing day. But during that bike ride, seven days in the saddle, doing around about 100 miles every single day, slightly more. You've got to talk about stuff. You know, you can only talk about your football team for so long and what you're doing at work, and you tend to group in the same group of people. You find the ability that you're happy to cycle out, still being able to talk. And I was cycling with a guy called Dave McLean, and Dave is a very passionate guy. His wife is the MP for Redditch. She was also my HR director for a little while. So become a family friend, and we were talking about the need for a LoveBrum, and genuinely the original idea for LoveBrum. And of course it developed as when we got back, I got PJ involved because it wasn't even called LoveBrum then. We didn't even know what it was going to be called, but we wanted to come up with an all-encompassing offering to the city as to what LoveBrum is. But we started off talking about the need for civic pride. So we felt that civic pride in the city was quite bad. And what I mean by that is you go to Manchester and they beat the chest. I'm not even going to put a Mancunian accent on, or a Scouser, and Glasgow. And you go to all these big cities, certainly up the north, they are very passionate about there. You go down to south, and the Londoners are very passionate. But us Brummies are a bit, it's all right, isn't it? Kind of, which actually, no, it's better than all right, and it's been great for me, and it's gave me lots of opportunities, but I do appreciate there are people in the city of Birmingham that don't have the opportunities. So LoveBrum then evolved, and basically what we wanted to do was the best way of promoting, should we say, civic pride is by the people in the city. It's not about our buildings, is it really? Albeit we do have some lovely buildings. Certainly not about our football teams, but it's about the Brummies themselves. And I've had businesses in different cities. There is no city like Birmingham to do business, in my opinion. That may be because I only know Birmingham really well. Yep. But generally I believe that Birmingham as a city is very collaborative. We like to help each other. There's lots of people that would do anything for you if you ask. You've got to ask, but they will. And you only have to ask for an introduction to somebody. They'll always try and help you if they can. And so what we believe that to promote civic pride is to focus on the small charities of the city. There are lots of charities in the city, lots of big ones that are really successful, but corporate world always support the large charities. Nearly always support the large charities. It's the small charities that are volunteer-led that often they haven't got the access to the corporate world. They don't know, unless they know somebody in a big business, it's very difficult for them to get support.
Yeah.
So we felt that LoveBrum could be an umbrella for these small hidden gem volunteer-led organisations to give them or amplify their voice, give them a platform to promote themselves. And that's really the premise what LoveBrum, and still is today actually. We've got a campaign at the moment called Hidden Heroes, but it is on the back of, Hidden Gem is what we used to call them, Hidden Gem organisations.
Yeah.
We give it a little bit of a fresh what we're wanting to do is look at the real bad things that the city are suffering from. So we top the charts for gun crime now, I believe, per capita. We top the charts, the amount of people that stopped and have an offensive weapon found on them. We top the charts for the number of under 8s that can't read or write. And you put all this into a mix together, our city could be really dangerous in 10 years' time when these people grow up but don't have the confidence, don't have the opportunities that you and I have had. And I feel that LoveBrum has got a real part to change the fabric of the city for the future, not what's gone by. We are where we are, but we do have I think a responsibility to try and change it. And gun crime, knife crime, all these things, I think we can try and change. We certainly won't eradicate. We certainly won't get rid of the problem, but we can help it. And raising the awareness of these issues in the city, I think, is something that needs to be done. The city's great; it's gave me lots of opportunities, but it is hurting in lots of places. So that is what LoveBrum, the premise of what LoveBrum is really. We need more support. We need more financial support. We suffered through COVID. We need the way we operate. We every single penny that's given to us, donated to us, we pass on to so we have overheads ourselves. We employ 2 people. We look for sponsorship so that we're not taking money out of the pot that's been given to us. Yeah. So every penny that's donated to us gets through to the causes, and all the causes that we support are volunteer led. So that means that the pound goes a long way on these organisations. Unlike, it's unfair to name the large charities, but the pound becomes 2 or 3p or 10p. The small organisations are doing great work, and they really are in the sort of within the community of our city, in the areas where they're really needed, and so we do need more support. We need more corporate. So anybody who's listening that does want to sponsor LoveBrum, we do need your help, but please do reach out to us. Yeah, we spoke to Dion, didn't we? Yeah, she was great. She made us aware of a number of the charities and what they're actually doing. I think one of the charities is teaching kids to use bleed kits up with the friends. It's a shame there's so many stabbings happening that kids are having to learn how to save their friends' lives. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's really eye-opening. When you've been filming some of them, haven't you? Yeah. But you'll see, actually it does remind you how great our city is. It also reminds you that our city is hurting in lots of places, and a lot of these, we're an organisation that's trying to promote the city and the good of the city, but actually we're also we all need to be conscious that things aren't quite right in our city, and we need all to pull together to try and make it a better place.
And there's charities, isn't there, that you just wouldn't even think of. So there's some of the homeless stuff and Suits for Success we talked about, and stuff that you don't necessarily think that are needed, which is not nice. But the homeless in our city is, I think there's 11,000 people that are living in vulnerable situations. So that's temporary accommodation. They're not on the streets, which is good. And I think one thing that our city does need to be applauded for is getting the people off the streets, but it's not just about getting them off the streets, it's getting them back into mainstream living, getting them jobs, getting them trained, retrained, getting them into accommodation where they're having to pay rent and starting again, and there's great organisations out there that are doing exactly that, but these all need celebrating, and they need their profile raising, and they're, for corporates that do want to support those particular types, so we're launching a volunteering hub. So a lot of these organisations don't just need money, they need help, they need skill-based help. So you might be a marketeer,
you might be a videographer, you might be an accountant. You know, you help in your skill specifics that charity, rather than giving them money, helping them out do what they need doing, because a lot of these organisations, because they're volunteer run, they're great at offering and doing the service that they need, but quite often they're not very good at the periphery stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's not their skill set. You know?
Yeah.
And so again, it's LoveBrum's responsibility, or aim, should I say, is to raise their profile and give them volunteers from across the city, be an introducer really.
That's what I found from doing some filming for you as well, that these charities aren't like, so LoveBrum give us $2,000 and there we go. It was like, so the £2,000 was very helpful, but more helpful is the fact that you're continuing supporting them and helping them grow and doing, exposure.
I think it's this week actually. No, it's not. It's next Thursday.
Yeah.
So Birmingham Says No. Great organisation. I think that might be the same organisation that does the bleed kits. They're wanting to do sort of workshops for children in our city, but they've really struggled with premises. So we've helped find premises, and now we're refurbing them with the help of one of our corporates, Prologis Developments, and they're paying for all the materials, all the staff. They're coming in, and it's like a 24-hour makeover kind of approach.
Yeah. And
giving them some facility that they can continue with the workshops here in the city. Now, it's not just money, because actually they probably would never have been able to afford to do what's being done.
Yeah.
But it's us getting one of our corporate supporters, giving them being the introducer to this organisation over here. They're taking care of the financial side and the staff side. They're getting some of their suppliers involved as well. You know, they're all pulling them together and going to help that project over here in Handsworth, I think it is.
Mm.
You know, it's a great story. So we'll be doing lots of videos and stuff on that, no doubt. So watch this space.
Yeah.
Excellent. So just to wind it back then, as we like to discuss big inevitable event in the middle of all our lives, COVID. So what were the effects of COVID? Obviously, we all shut down to a point, industry shut down. How did that affect you and your various businesses?
Well, first of all, the funeral business didn't really affect it at all. If I'm being brutally honest with you, figures weren't that much different. Take from that as you will.
Yeah.
We were really badly affected. It was quite widely publicised actually. Andy Street came to us, it was on the news a few times. We were the very first business to close our doors pretty much, because we're our close association with the exhibition industry and any events really. They were the first thing to be shut down. And we were pretty much one of the last to reopen again. So we were affected quite badly. There were some spin-offs and there were some opportunities that came our way as a result of it. We were doing screens to stop the COVID spread. We were doing floor graphics. But of course, once they were all made, that come to an abrupt end. But we did have a few opportunities come our way as a result of it. So acrylic screens for supermarkets, keep your distance, 3 meters was it, or 3 meters?
3 meters, yeah.
We was hoping that the distance would change, so
every week.
But there was those opportunities, but those opportunities soon dried up really. And so I remember when the furlough was announced, and literally I was sat at home and I cried in front of the TV. Honestly, I swear. And it was such a relief, because I thought we were doomed. 977 grand I think we claimed on furlough for the staff. Which all this free money has to be repaid, doesn't it? And of course, as a result, the economy is now struggling. As a result of it, we weren't the only company, but I can guarantee you it was all legit. And had we have not had the furlough scheme, we would definitely not be in business today. So it was actually, that was the saviour of it. And of course, since then, we've had a bit of a bounce back following COVID. But we're certainly not one of these businesses that have made lots of money out of COVID. Considering the amount of signs that were produced and but every signage company was going after the same business really.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't really we needed our normal business. That's where we make money, and of course our markets were closed. So we spent a lot of time sat at home, as lots were, drinking,
dancing,
on doing parties online, and dressing up, and look back, you can't fail to sort of smile because of some of the things that we did do. But actually, I think not a lot has been talked about, or maybe it has, but the mental health, the effects of, and it certainly affected me personally. I was going through a divorce at the time as well, so that was a real bad time in my life. And you spend a lot of time thinking. But one thing that we did do is we spent a lot of time investigating materials for our business, so materials that don't contain PVC. So our industry is blighted with PVC, which may not be to some people mean much, but it's a material that you can't incinerate. So it's a material that always ends up in landfill. It takes 250 years to disintegrate, and during that time it's giving off bad gases as well. It's a real bad problem for the signage industry, and we were the first company to announce that we were going to ban it. But of course, we can't ban it until we found replaceables. Yeah. So of course, we spent a lot of time on sustainable options, and we were pretty much the first in the UK to, in my understanding, first in the UK to ban it. Certainly in the Midlands. And that's actually we've probably had more opportunities come from that than COVID. Yeah. But it was COVID time, the downtime, that allowed us to think about where our business should go, because we all know the importance of strategy, but actually quite often we don't have the time to strategize. Yeah. And that gave us the time to
reflect.
Yeah, and where the business needs to go and come out the traps, ahead of the competition. So we did very well in that regard. But yeah, COVID was a time where it was a real roller coaster ride for me personally, and also for the business, because I generally didn't know whether we were going to come out the other side, or whether I'd have to go and get a job somewhere. Yeah. Which, again, mental health would have, I think, probably finished me off.
It was a wild time, wasn't it? I saw there was a lot of reports and a lot of posts on LinkedIn. It was airline pilots delivering for Amazon and the Uber Eats and places like that, wasn't it? Going off topic slightly, having a Greggs delivered to your house, it blows my wife, does it? And it blows my mind. Like, the shop is 10 minutes away, and it's a Greggs. Seeing someone knock on the door and hand over a Greggs.
I must admit, I haven't seen the Greggs. I don't. Where I live now, we can't get any of the Deliveroos or anything like that. But during COVID, I was living in the city centre because I was going through my divorce. I was living in a flat, no outside space, no balcony, nothing. And bear in mind, remember that first summer, it was probably the hottest,
nicest summer of our generation.
Well, it wasn't even summer, was it?
No, it was spring. Yeah. So from there, obviously, onto better times. What was it like being made MBE? How did that even come about?
That was definitely in my top 10. I took my mum. It was at Windsor Castle, actually, and
how was that? Was that a letter? Was it a phone call?
Yeah, so I had a phone call actually to begin with, and I thought somebody was on the wind up. I had a message, I think it was, and saying, "Can you call this number?" And I phoned it back. Actually, no, it wasn't actually a phone call first. It was an email, and that was it. It said something like mailbox something at, and when your iPhone shortens, he only sees that, and I thought it was just a. So we do the work at mailbox signage for the mailbox, and I genuinely thought it was just a flyer for the mailbox. So I deleted it. I went, let me go back and have a look at it. So I went back and had a look at it, and there was the message saying that I've been nominated for an MBE, and for me to phone to confirm that I'm interested in receiving it. Because unbelievably, some people turn them down. And of course, I phoned them up, and they went through all the security checks, and of course, it wasn't a wind up, and it wasn't the mailbox. It was the Queen's office saying that I'd been nominated, and then of course that was 3 weeks before it was actually announced on her birthday, and so I wasn't allowed to tell anybody, which was the worst thing in the world. Because you just want to tell
the best secret ever.
Yeah. And I was just waiting, and of course when it was announced, but it was announced I think midnight. But the press get it released about 2 hours before it's actually announced.
Yeah.
With a what's the word where you're not allowed to? They're not allowed to.
Non-disclosure.
NDA. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a term for it. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, they weren't allowed to announce it until 12 o'clock, but they were given it. So of course, I've started having the journos who I know locally going, "Well done, Tim. Well done." So my phone started going off at about 10 o'clock, I think it was, on the night, and literally my phone until the following morning was just literally on fire. So many people either text messaging me, emailing me, LinkedIning me, you name it, everybody. And I must have had, and I'm not exaggerating, over 3,000 different kinds of messages. I know I counted over 2,000, and I thought, I'm not going to bother carrying on there. But so much love reached out to me. It was awesome. It was, still I'm very proud of it.
Rightly so. It's over £750,000 raised for charitable causes.
Yeah, it's probably more than that now. Really, it's not just about the money, though. I don't think. I think what one of the deputy lieutenants did say to me, says it's your work that you've done in the ladies' game as well. So it's in addition to that, 'cause of course that was all voluntary, and then of course the charities that I've been involved in. And then continue to be involved in, so yeah.
Give you any perks? Like you get to jump the queue at Starbucks or something, or
definitely no queue at Starbucks or Greg's.
Yeah.
I haven't changed my passport, but apparently, if you get it on your passport, they give you free upgrades when they've got them.
Oh, okay.
Any long haul flights. I don't know how true that is. I haven't changed my passport yet, so I can't say. But do you know what? I do get a lot of response from a sales point of view. If I'm trying to talk to somebody, I would say my response percentages have gone up massively. So normally I'm just a sign man, just selling some signs, and now it's got my letters after my name. I do get a bit more of a warmer response. Yeah,
carry some weight.
Is that classed as a perk? I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit. I had a lordship bought for me.
Yeah.
And I can't do it. I can't put it on anything because
why not?
An MBE where you've earned that, haven't you? having a lordship bought for my 40th birthday, and that's what I'd say. You put it on change your name, and it becomes your title. I'm like, I can't. An MBE, absolutely, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a very proud day. Took my mum down to the Castle Hotel night before, and I was awoke by a marching band outside the front door, outside the front window. We were on the first floor. Opened the curtains, looking down on this marching band. Oh my god, this is real. And literally was a full-on royal marching band. It was so amazing. And obviously it wasn't just for me, but it was a ceremony for right throughout the day.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people altogether, but there's probably 200 people that were getting their honours, and ranging from all the different honours that there are. There was people in military uniform, right across the board.
Yeah.
And I was in the toilets actually. It was about 12 o'clock, and this chap had already been to collect his medal because he was wearing it. I said, come on, tell me who gave it you? He said it's Prince William. I went yes, because I wanted to talk to him about Blues and Villa.
Yeah.
What else do you talk to the royals about? That's the only thing I've got any common with. But it was Princess Anne that actually gave mine, and I had met Princess Anne before through a charity. But she was the most loveliest woman. She knew everything about me. She really blew me away with the knowledge that she'd got. She mentioned Hollywood Monster. She knew about Birmingham City Ladies. And when I first went there, of course, I was getting all nervous about what do you do? Do you curtsy or do you bow?
Yeah.
And anyway, she said, "So come on then, tell me all about it." I said, "About what?" She said, "Well, Hollywood Monster then. Just to kick off with Hollywood Monster. Well, what do you say about Hollywood Monster? That you're really interested in." But she genuinely knew everything. Everything. She knew a lot about me, and I was just blown away with the detail that she knew about me.
That's really cool, isn't it?
It is really cool. Really, really, really cool.
But they could just be kind of nonchalant. Hello, you all right? Yeah, going through the motions, couldn't they? But they obviously took time
to learn, and she's perhaps well briefed before I go. Because you go one at a time, of course.
Yeah.
But the fact that she, Hollywood Monster to her is whilst it's my life, it's nothing to her, is it? And it was really cool. And then my mum finds walking very difficult, so we were given a little bit of. We were allowed in first. We're taken by golf buggy around the grounds, so we didn't have to walk. So that was quite nice. We saw the dogs, and we were pointed out where the Queen lives, and it was amazing. There was an ambulance there that day actually, so she's obviously was poorly then, but it was such a great day, and one that I'll remember for the rest of my life. But because of COVID, you could only take one person.
Yeah. Because what was that? Was that 20? That was 2021. So you literally off the cuff of the first lockdown.
So and they were also, because of the lockdown, because of COVID, they stopped giving them out.
Right.
So there was a bit of a delay. So whilst I was giving it was in the 2021 June. Excuse me. I didn't actually get the medal until pretty much nearly 12 months later.
Right.
Because of the backlog. But it was a great day, and one that I'll never forget. And of course, after then, a few people have come forward saying, "Oh, I nominated you." So I had quite a few different people come forward saying they nominated me, which is really lovely.
Yeah, especially like you say, off the back of what you've done with the women's team and kind of the ownership and how you've kind of done that off your own back.
Yeah.
Underappreciated.
But you seem like you're the kind of guy who's just like does it and then just like, okay, I'm just going to do it because I'm doing it, and then other people are like,
you certainly don't do it to get the recognition. I mean, me and PJ got before David Cameron. Can't remember what happened to him. Did he resign? Was he voted? That was all over Brexit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
His last week in charge, he gave me and PJ a Points of Light award, which is sort of like the next one down.
Yeah. Okay. I remember seeing all the pictures at 10 Downing Street. And
that's it. Yeah.
So through business, you've been to Wembley with the team that you run, that you love, Birmingham City. Yeah. You've been to 10 Downing Street.
Yeah.
You've been to Windsor Castle.
Yeah.
Some bucket list, that isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, to put it like that, to be fair, I've never really thought of it in that way.
It's quite phenomenal, isn't it? Through business and then charitable works and just your day to day, what you consider day to day. It's took you to these places.
Yeah,
just shows the gravitas of the work that you're doing, isn't it?
It is cool, and I'm very proud. It has been quite a journey, really. But it's not over yet. There's still a lot more work to do. So,
in amongst everything that you've done to date, obviously all the businesses that you're involved with, the charity work that you do, what is next, and at what point do you look and go, right, Tim, time to sail off into the sunset?
I think to run Birmingham City Football Club is why one of my bucket lists, if you want to use that expression, that'd be something that I'd really love to do one day. That's not me saying I'll do a better job than Gary Cook, because I think he's doing a great job. He's the right man for the job. But when Gary retires, then come and knock on my door. It's a job that I've always wanted to do. But to be fair, it's always a job that I wanted to do because I knew that I could do a better job than what was being done previous. Yes. I could see the problems, and there are quite easy fixes. I imagine by the time Gary steps down, he'll have done all the all the stuff.
Champions of Europe.
Yeah. So how can he take over from that? So it might not even be a job for me then, but I would love to, or certainly would have loved to have done that job. In terms of me personally, I think business will always be on my radar. I've always wanted more, and that's not being greedy, because I've learned not to be too greedy. I've had quite a lot of successes, but we've not really talked about my failures. There's been quite a few business failures that have tempered my greed, I suppose is that right expression. So it has to be done in a calculated way, a planned way, strategic way. I've got a lot of passion for business startups, helping new entrepreneurs come through, being part of that journey. We're on the lookout for another Gymshark, really. The next Gymshark, we've got a couple of ventures that we're working on at the moment. I've got great aspirations for that will do really well. I'd like to find more that need that mentoring and that support. Had I had a mentor in my career, I think I would have done a lot more than what I have done.
Do you know what? That was kind of going to be one of my final questions. You answered it there, but yeah.
Yeah, mentoring is something that's I enjoy doing. We've all made bad decisions. I've certainly made more than most, but I think a CEO that doesn't make a decision doesn't do anything. But I think if you've got somebody that can run ideas and decisions past, it goes a long way. I was a member of a organisation called the Academy of Chief Executives for about 3 years, and I worked with the likes of Paul Tandy, Simon Beckett, Alan Lusty, Alison Fox, and they're all big business people within our city, have done very well for themselves. I was the young kid in the class, but I learned so much off them. And the thing that what we've already talked about is people. It's always around people that the business owners have the problems with. It doesn't matter what background you're from. It always comes down to people problems, and trying to share my learnings and help new business owners with those learnings, and that experience helps them get to where they want to get to a lot quicker.
Yeah. Just like to finish by saying thank you ever so much for your time today, Tim. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well,
thank you for your stories.
Hopefully the listeners haven't fallen asleep yet.
No, thanks for coming along.
Nice
Cheers.
one.
Thanks,
Cool.
mate.
Thank you.
Thank you.